Live yet? Are we live yet? There we go.
We
We are
live?
live. We
Oh,
are live. Yes.
oh, that's
Happy
what's up.
Friday.
Okay.
Happy Friday.
How are you, man?
I'm doing great, man. How about yourself? How's your week been?
It's been good. Yeah,
Good.
good.
We got some
Sports,
pretty
man.
good new music this week.
We do. What we do.
You know what? I was listening to the Nas.
hmm
Man, Nas is on the roll, man. It's
You,
effortless.
you want to know what it is? Is that what Hit Boy has done? Is essentially like he's answered the question that all the Illmatic fans have answered, which is like, why don't you just make Illmatic again? And really, what you really don't want to hear is Illmatic. Is what you want to hear Nas is like be nostalgic over like really dope break loops and samples, because that's what Illmatic is. And that's what Hit Boy keeps on delivering for Nas. And I mean, and you're seeing the results of it. And now he's comfortable to the point that he's pretty much talking about, yeah, I don't even practice no more. Pretty much when me and Hit Boy do it, it's pretty much how he's talking, you know?
You know, now that you mentioned that and mentioned Illmatic and breakbeats, he sounds as, I mean, I know people are going to take this probably way out, but he sounds as relaxed as he did back on Illmatic. It sounds real fluid and real natural. And as great of an MC as he was on It Was Written, I don't feel like he sounds as relaxed on It Was Written as he did on Illmatic or as he does now.
There's definitely more pressure. You want to know what? I thought about something. You got to look, even within his own camp of the firm, AZ released Do or Die in 95.
Mm-hmm.
Do or Die went gold. Sugar Hill, the single, went platinum. Nas didn't do that with Illmatic, so there was more pressure applied, like with It Was Written. So not
That's
as
crazy.
comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, not as comfortable. But what I would also submit to you is that, and here's what I realized. When you're listening to Nas on Illmatic and It Was Written, you're hearing pretty much Nas's first 20 years of his life.
Yeah.
What?
I was gonna say, man, I want to brief people up on what we're gonna do on the show today. We're gonna talk about this new music, but what Coop and I have done, we've taken a side about this KRS and Big Daddy Kane versus. Not picking a side as far as like who we rooting
Yeah,
for,
we're
whatever,
taking
whatever.
yeah.
I took on 20 Big Daddy Kane tracks. Coop took on 20 KRS-One tracks, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna match those up. You cool with that?
Yeah,
Okay, we're
yeah.
going track for track. Shout out to Casino Life in the room. He said, "No one rocks a crowd like KRS-One. He's the father of hip hop performers." Coop and I just saw KRS-One, Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, and Kumo D rock the mic, and
We're great.
yeah, live, and you know what? Both of them really tore it down, man. Rakim's my guy. Everybody knows that. But
Yeah.
Rakim, man, those KRS-One and Kane really just sucked the air out of the building after they performed. What up, Andre Shashir? He said, "What up, fellas? The Terminator. What
What
up?
up?
What's going on? What's going on?" So, yeah, we're talking about the new Nas record that just dropped. What's the name of that song again, Cool?
It's called Big Nas.
Big Nas. That's what it's called.
So what I was saying is that Illmatic and It Was Written is really the first 20 years of Nas's life, essentially, like
Right.
his thoughts, ideas, and opinions. What you're really hearing from King's Disease 1 and 2 and now moving forward is the last 10 years, like the prior 10 years. Like you're hearing like what happened after Life Is Good up until now, really like in a fully fleshed out form. And like you said it yourself, his go-to is the nostalgic rap, and he's the best nostalgic rapper ever. And really, he's explaining what his life has been like for the past decade, and which is kind of funny. That's kind of what he did on Illmatic, and It Was Written. He kind of explained what life was like from about 8 or 9 to about 20.
He's made his current life interesting too. It reminds me of, and I know we always, these guys are synonymous with each other, but one thing that Jay-Z did really well on American Gangster is it felt like it was the grown-up version of the guy that was on Reasonable Doubt, right? Like after all this stuff, but on a corporate level, and it was like the older Jay-Z looking back at that life. But Nas has found a way to actually do that while continuously moving forward with his life. You know what I mean? In a way that is not about the streets, it's not about anything, but it's like the older Nas giving it to you like the younger Nas did but talking about things that are going on now.
Yeah, no, he's giving it to you. That's yeah, no, we're saying the same thing. I think we're expressing the same sentiment, just like from a different angle.
Yeah. No, I'm agreeing with you totally. I'm just saying that, Nas has found that pocket that I feel like Jay found for 1 second. And I think this is something that Nas can continue to grow on.
No, he's on a run, and you want to know what I like about like all the singles, at least that we're going to talk about, is like I enjoy all the singles, but I get the feeling from all. I mean, I wouldn't even call them singles. I would call these like heat seekers.
Mm-hmm.
Like all three of these records that we're about to talk about, like the releases from the artists, like starting off with Big Nas, they're all the type of records make you feel like, oh, they got some real heat coming because this is nice.
My man Don in the room, shout out to Don. He said the new Nas is heat. I know you gentlemen are partial to
it's some heat, but it's the type of heat that for the type of run that he's on, it makes you feel like, man, it's gonna be like the 6th or 7th best record on the project. You know
Don
what I mean?
says, I know you gentlemen are partial to Conway The Machine. It's nice. But Nas might be the best right now. He said Nas might be the best right now. Is that possible? Is it possible that Nas is the best MC in the game?
If we're talking total MC in the game, we can have that conversation. But if we're just talking about like who we need to be talking about over the last couple of years as a lyricist, like definitely Conway. And we're not leaning towards Conway. We're actually just giving him his just due.
Right.
And I think like the BET Hip Hop Awards just showed that like he's not getting his just due. So like we're not fans. I mean, I am a fan. But we're giving him his appropriate respect, like he's top notch.
Well, see, the thing is, do you give LeBron the MVP at this point in his career when you got someone that's in the prime of their career, like let's say Giannis, putting up the numbers they're putting up? I don't know.
It's gonna be hard, but how about this? I would call Nas right now the artist of the year. I don't know if he's the MC of the year because you could argue that like guys like Conway and AZ and Sky Zoo come to mind have put in arguable better lyrical performances. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Like actual like a hip hop quotable, noteworthy type of stuff per se. You would say, you know, because when I listen to like King's Disease 2. I think most of the quotable stuff, like lyrically, is on the first 2 records, The Pressure and Death Row East, and then on Store Run and Moments, and then on Count Me In, you know?
Yeah, and I think it's funny, man, at this point in Nas's career, he has found a way to make better songs. It ain't even really about Huh?
And he's a great song maker now.
Yeah,
like
he's a great song maker
2-3 years, Mike. I mean,
yeah. Harry H said, been waiting on the Friday episode. Bless up. Andre Shashir says, is October 14th the new album? Is that what people are saying? Is it?
So people keep saying that. Did you check up on Mike? Did you check up on that?
He posted that. He posted something about new music, and the new music was like on the 7th. But yeah.
This is the music. I mean, hold on. What's today? Well,
no. They're saying the masterclass is coming on the 14th. Hopefully, it's a whole album. It's I think Hit Boy is kind of hinting to a masterclass album. Hold on. Let me look at this. I don't want to sit there and just be saying shit.
Let's be riffing, right?
Yeah. Let's just do this in the moment. Yeah, we'll go back and do even more research on it. But yeah, Masterclass is coming on the 14th. And we don't really know exactly what Masterclass is at this point. Let me see. Let me ask you about the Conway record. Since we're talking about Conway. What was your thoughts on that?
It was another heat seeker. Like as a fan of both of these guys, these were the type of records where I was like, well, for how they've been hitting both of them separately in separate ways the last couple of years, these are heat seekers. Like they're dope ass records, and they're the type of records that it's like, no, that's not even about to be like one of the top 3 or 4 or 5 songs on the album. Like I think long term about it, like when those guys like release songs like that, it's like these are the type of guys that take records like these because they're so great at what they do, and like be like, you want to know what? I'm not even sure if I want that to go on the album. You know?
They're in the room saying that you missed My Bible as the quotables. Yeah.
Oh, you want to know what my Bible? No. You're right. My Bible has some quotables too. That's my bad.
Yeah.
No. You're absolutely right.
Well,
I'm not perfect. I named some viable records. You know what I mean?
Well, this is why we do live programming. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We get to catch
I
ourselves and
appreciate
all
the
that.
chin check.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to us going through this Big Daddy Kane and KRS-One possible versus list. For the people who are just getting in the room, I'm taking Big Daddy Kane's 20. I went and picked 20 from Big Daddy Kane, and Coop picked 20 for KRS. I must say, man, it was great just going through Kane's catalog and
Hold on. No. Before we do that.
Yeah, we're not gonna start that. Go ahead.
Right. I want to know what are your thoughts on Piano Love? Because I think so I'm gonna say this. I feel like this is something that's more in the vein of something that I like hip hop wise. It's Alchemist, it's Conway.
Yeah.
So I wasn't overly impressed, but I thought it was a dope record. You know
I'm
what I mean?
with you. It felt like a dope record that would be on the album somewhere, you know, tucked in or whatever. And see what Griselda has done to us at this point. They can't put out singles unless it's like a single banger. So we want to hear full projects from these guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't.
What do you mean?
What I mean is, we don't want to hear one song at a time. They put out so many projects. It's like when they release music, we're looking for a whole pack of music.
So what I've noticed about Conway is that this is kind of Conway's motion when he's about to do like a project, I think. So he does this. So I think last year Lemon was that, you know?
Yeah, but Lemon's a banger.
No, Lemon is epic.
Yeah, Lemon's a banger. That was different. That's what I mean. Like, we want to hear a single from you guys if it's a banger.
So This is not Lemon. That's what I'm saying, but it is a dope-ass record. When I heard Lemon, I was like, oh. It's like, oh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, some other shit is coming.
It's whole problem. Yeah, it's a whole problem.
We're going to get to the Currency, too, because that's a full album. But what did you think about the Cordae record?
I was impressed. I liked it. I told you, I enjoyed it. I really liked the record. I didn't listen to it multiple times. I only listened to it once.
I listened to Super like 3 times. I did.
You want to know what, Mike? I was actually saying to myself, I'm going to play this record again. This is the kind of record that you kind of put on rotation. I can see people, I look at everything in terms of the scene of, what can people do to this record? It's like, well, you can ride to this record and walk into the club and hear this record and feel good about it at the same time. Or even if it was playing, at your favorite hookah lounge, or however it is that you get what I'm saying? It's like I hear that record in that zone on that level, and I enjoyed it. It's a dope record. I told you all 3 of these records are dope in different ways. You want to know what it is? It's 3 artists comfortable in their lane.
Yeah. I was going to say about the Cordae. Go ahead.
No. And we're going to talk about the 4th because Currency is comfortable in his lane. There's something to be said about being comfortable, about doing what you're doing, and then being great at it.
Andrew keeps asking if we listen to the Don Toliver. I fuck with Don Toliver. I like Don Toliver a lot. I didn't get a chance to listen to it today. I know we run a hip-hop show, so I figured we weren't going to talk about it. So I went ahead and was listening to other things. K. Thompson's in the room. He said, y'all come across that Loot album yet? We got to put some time in on that, too. From Carolina, right?
Right.
Yeah, we got to get in on that, too.
No.
We really dedicated this show to Kane and KRS, and these, pieces of music just popped up, and then Currency popped up. You know what? I want to talk about Currency for a second too, man, because his consistency over the years, and I think when we were on the phone earlier, I likened him to a Devin the Dude with his consistency and just being able to, service his audience and his market like he does, but I think people like Currency, Wiz, and I know last week we were having a discussion about people in that Meek Mill era of, of releases. And I say Currency's way before that. But we don't talk about Currency and where he stands in the digital era, I would say. But I think he has his place. He's a dope MC. He's done things that are unorthodox for the region that he comes from. I mean, really, as a New Orleans MC, just being from Louisiana, period, he's got to be up there with the work that he's put in. I mean, he goes all the way back to the No Limit days. Cash Money days, and then he's continued to rebuild himself and reinvent himself. I'll say it that way. Like Currency's special.
Where do you want me to start? Like with Currency? Or
Start with the album.
okay, I really enjoyed the album. I was impressed by it. You brought up Devin the Dude. I brought up Kid Cudi. We brought up two guys who have big cult followings who were widely consistent with their projects. And so Currency is on that level, but I would tell you I actually prefer Currency to both of those guys.
I prefer Currency over Kid Cudi. I'm with you on that. I don't know about Wiz. I got to think about that.
I prefer Currency over Wiz, over Devin, and over Cudi, and over Meek actually. And so we're gonna get into some reasons why. You want to know why? Like when you listen to Currency's project and you enjoy it, Currency makes you feel comfortable. Like my man Currency project just dropped. Y'all need to listen to it like you know him. Because he does an excellent job of bringing you into his world. Other people aren't bringing you into his world. He's responsible for it, and he executes that. And
even when he has features, even when he has features, he brings them into Currency's world.
They come in to do They come in to do some Currency type stuff.
Yeah.
And so you literally, and so I immediately thought about this. And you actually, you said it out your own mouth. When I heard the first track, the title track, Still Stoned on Ocean, I was like, this sounds like Currency.
Yeah. He's like, one of those artists that has a sound, like Slick Rick has a sound. Like you hear a beat and you know
it's Slick Rick. This sound like Currency shit. And Mike, it's Friday. I'm in Atlanta. I'm like, we about to ride.
Yeah.
You know? And you already know what time it is. Like Mike, so all these people complaining about Meek's album. Tell me Meek album make you feel that way anytime when you started off, because that's the point that I was trying to make. I'm waiting for Meek to bring us into his world and make us feel something and have a consistency with something. The Currency makes us feel every time.
We're going to get the Meek fans all over us,
Currency,
man.
when you hear that first record and it starts playing, you like, I'm riding to it. Then you look at the track list, it's only like 11 songs, 40 minutes or something like that. You're like, yeah, man, like, come on.
To piggyback off of that, I don't know who Meek is as an artist because he kind of piggybacks off of other sounds, other flows. You know what I'm saying? Like Championships to me was a DJ Khaled type of album where you got these high price samples, you got these big features, and the features made the record. Like the record with Drake, that sounds like a Drake record. You know what I'm saying? What's free? That's clearly Biggie shit, but Jay and Ross took over that. Like, I don't know. And even the Cardi B record that's on Championships, that sounds like a Cardi record. So, yes, it's great for artists to have an identity, and Currency is the epitome of that. Currency has like you said, it's like the Slick Rick thing. Or Busta Rhymes even had that for a minute. Like when you would hear a certain beat, it sounded like, oh, that's a Busta Rhymes beat. When he was doing the Calypso type stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's great when you have an artist that's like that and you know what you're going to get and they give you Currency sounding records. Rick Ross does that. You can hear a beat and you be like, yo, that's a Rick Ross record.
See, but it's not just that he does it consistently and he does it at a fairly high level. As in, like, like what he did today, it's like, I felt the same way about when I listened to Cudi's last project. It's like, well, I don't know how to rate it in terms of where it falls in his catalog because he consistently gives you dope music.
He giving you 4s every time, huh?
He giving you 4s all the time. And it's like when I started writing this, I was like, I don't know if it's gonna be higher than a 4. But after I listened to the first couple tracks, I was like, yeah, it's another 4 from Currency. And it's like, and you have to respect that. You know how hard it is to do that.
He giving you 15 and 10 night in, night out.
I mean, Mike, no. I wouldn't even call it 15 and 10. I would call it more like 17 and 8.
Okay. Night in, night out.
And I'm going to tell you why, because here's why Currency is consistent. Like he tells you why. I got 2 quotes from 2 of his songs. On Game Tapes 2, he says, stop wearing clown wigs, be who the fuck you is. like he's consistent. He's saying like I'm me and like I'm always me with this. That's part of why I win. And another thing he says on High, if your rhyming is timeless, you ain't never too old. And he's right. Because when I was listening to him today, it's like I was like, man, how long? Mike, you had to tell me. I was like, how long have I been listening to Currency?
Again,
like a long ass time.
I could see Currency continuously making records like this and continuously putting out albums until he's 50 something. That's why I think about Devin the Dude. You know what I mean? Like I could
perfectly fine.
Yeah. And you know, people will continue to go to his shows if that's what he wants to do. He always is going to have an audience because, like you said, that consistency and his ability to just not really have to, and I say this in the best way possible, he doesn't have to live up to a super big record. And sometimes that's a great thing for an artist.
It's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing. You could just stay there and always stay there.
So you're with me. You think this album is a solid 4, right?
Oh, definitely. Oh, definitely.
So I'm gonna tell you that like this is one of those projects because it's time for us to like really dig in and do like our like rating soon. Mm-hmm. This is one of those projects. Although I'm giving it a 4 right now, I can see myself bumping it up and giving it a higher rating because I'm gonna tell you what. As we were like doing our pregame and I was like writing down like the tracks on the album that I enjoyed that I thought were dope. I just wrote down like most of the album. I like Still Stoned on Ocean, High, mm-hmm. Ball Harbor Brunch, Angels on the Hood, The One, Freezer's the shit.
Yeah, man. I think this could just go up.
Bad Decisions is dope. I'm like, hold on, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm like, that's 7 records. He only gave us 11. And the rest of the records ain't bad. Those are just the ones that I liked. And I'm like, no, I'm like, I might end up giving him higher than a 4. It's just like I really only had to listen to it like 1.5 times today.
Andre Shashir says Meek's album is not good. Andrew says Love Man on the Moon 3. Harry H says before Westside Gunn, Spitter was curating his tapes as art pieces. That's real. Miss Mo says, what do y'all think about that Stove to God new single and video?
Hold on. First of all, you got to back up. Everybody hit me with a lot of information. Come on. Stove has a new single. Mike, we might have to end the podcast right now so I can play the record. That's the first thing that I'm doing.
Stove is your guy, man. Stove is your guy.
I told Mike, his hook game, Mike, people are like has an MC and his hook game and personality. It's the rhetoric, Mike. It's the same thing Conway's kind of suffering from. But it's like, I'm like, fuck all that. He's dope.
We're going to check that out. Are you ready to go into this Big Daddy Kane and KRS Verzuz?
I want to cover what everybody else said right quick because I didn't even catch all that because I blacked out after the whole Stove thing. Like when they said like Stove has a new single and video, I was like, okay, didn't catch that.
Now, Harry H said that before Westside Gunn, Spitter Currency, he was curating his tapes as art pieces. Yeah, I mean,
that's crazy that he says that because I have Westside Gunn, I have WSG sitting over here in Stars because that's what I realized today. He's kind of like Louisiana or the South version of Westside in a lot of ways. He's just not as flashy as Westside is. He's more low key.
He's a better rapper than Westside too, I think. Respectful.
I'll give Currency Lyrical. That. Yeah, we'll say that. But as far as like when he's talking about the curation of the projects, but also like I wanted to bring up something. Currency's a great beat selector at Westside, like Westside is. That's one of the things I was thinking today. It's like they know what beats to pick that work for them, and that's one of the beautiful things about picking up their projects. And they're both really, really consistent. And there is like a curation and a narration and like it's bigger than even like the shit that they talking because it's like they're not talking too heavy, but it's heavier than you realize because they're trying to piece something together for you. So all of those comparisons are very valid.
Yeah. You know what? Don brings up a point. He said, Meek Miss, excuse me, I'm starting to feel bad for the brother. Would love to hear your thoughts on Dave East. What? Would you put Dave East ahead of Meek Mill as far as like a rapper? Dave East don't have the records that Meek has, but who would you say is the better rapper between the two?
I'm probably more likely to pick up East Project right now than Meek Project, but I'm probably going to say Meek to me has more talent and is the better rapper inherently. Okay. But it's like, it's not about that, Mike. Like look at a guy like Jimmy Butler. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Look at what Jimmy Butler's done with his talent. Like he's become like he's become somebody that's worthy of like talking about for Hall of Fame consideration at least. Like that wasn't his trajectory. Like All-Star wasn't even his trajectory. Hall of Fame consideration wasn't like it's about the work that you put in. And so
I love Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, I love Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy
I love
Butler
the
put
way
in
he
the work.
plays. Old school. Right. And so it's about the work that you put in. And so like you can never knock the guys that put in work over the talent. You know? You can't.
So you don't think that Meek put in the work?
I mean, where are all these fours from Meek that Currency has? Where's the charisma, Mike? Because I told you, like, when I was listening to Currency's album, I'm like, oh, he talking the way Meek talking kind of, but like I enjoy it more. I believe it more. I like it more. I want to kick it with Currency.
You know, we see that Meek posts a lot on you know, social media, whether it be Instagram, Twitter, whatever, and you know, Drake has, you know, given him that title of Twitter fingers that has continued to plague him throughout his career. But yeah, it's like you see Meek out here doing other things, and you know, you're not with the person 24/7, but based on the music and based on what you see him constantly putting out there to the public, he seems unfocused when it comes to music.
No. So what I'm saying is that like, so for all this social media activity he does, what I'm saying is like this is still like some rap shit. So it's like, but are you like cool though? Like is it cool to kick it with you? That's why I was telling you, like I was riding the Currency shit. It's like you want to know what I want to pull up with Currency.
No, I feel you. And there is a cool factor that is missing.
He makes you feel that way, and it's like Meek's active with it, but that's what I'm saying. Is like, is that for show? Like, are you really cool though?
No,
you know
you're
what
right.
I'm saying? Like, are you cool? Can I pull up on you? You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of these dudes, Mike. Like, I want you to understand. Like I done pulled up on Method Man and Redman before. Like, it was a long time ago, and like they weren't like the mega stars that they are now. But it's like, you know what I mean? This is still rap. Like, cats kind of got to feel like that they can touch you still, even if you're untouchable. Like, Mike, I've had multiple run-ins with Nas. Like, he's been humble and like kind every single time, like at different points.
Darnell Lee says Meek sold under 100,000. I think 80,000. So he's not that guy. And you know, it's interesting.
Hold on, didn't you say DJ Academics let us know that? I didn't even watch the Academics thing. You said Academics let everybody know that.
Was just talking about the fact that Meek sold 80,000 the first week, and he did bring up a good point. You got guys like G Herbo and guys like shit, what's wrong with me? Polo G. I'm sitting there thinking about G. Polo G did like 150 the first week. You know what I'm saying?
You bought up Polo G. You bought up Lil Durk.
You bought up
Lil Baby.
G Herbo. Yeah, these are the guys that are actually.
Mike,
if we want to talk about numbers,
Mike, I can remember a couple of years ago when Polo G did like 15, 20K the first week. You're right.
Yeah, same thing with G Herbo. G Herbo was doing like 20,000 the first week or whatnot. I mean, and not to mention what NBA YoungBoy continues to do. And I know I said that on the last show. But that's just a change of the guard. Guys like, you know, Lil Uzi, they're doing numbers. If this is about numbers, you know what I'm saying?
But they're also doing the work.
They are.
They put in the work. Like G Herbo and Polo G, these last 3 years, like it doesn't matter what you think about them as MCs or think about their album. They've been working.
Yeah.
You know, like this is their job. They're working hard at their job. Like, don't men want to come home and be commended for that?
Got to, you know what I'm saying? Regardless of, you know, if you feeling where they're coming from with it, you can't knock the work.
No, you can't knock the work.
I think that's a decent segue, right?
Right, it is. Mike, I want to let you know that right now, Mike, while you're doing whatever you're doing, I'm pulling up Stove's single right now.
Okay. Well, what we're going to do, we're going to go into our Verzuz preview, man.
That's the game. Mike, it came out September 24th. We are late.
Okay.
Very problematic.
We're gonna get to the Stove. We'll probably play that towards the end of the show. So, all right. So October 17th at Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York, we got Big Daddy Kane and KRS-One doing a Verzuz. You know, before we get into actually the track list that we chose, I chose 20 from Big Daddy Kane. Coop chose 20 from KRS. I think that we can say that this matchup obviously lets us know that the Rakim and Kane is not happening. And you know what? I gotta commend Versus Swiss Beats, Timbaland. We asked them to do the Kane and Rakim, and I would have to believe, they tried to make that happen. Do you think that the first choice was this? The first choice had to be Rakim and Kane. That's what the people wanted. For whatever reason, Rakim's not a part of this.
Okay, so that's the first thing that we need to state about this is that, like, first of all, we need to realize KRS-One is the OG in all of this and precedes Kane and Rakim. Okay?
He precedes Rakim by a few months, but yeah.
Mike, no, hold on, correct me if I'm wrong. Criminal Minded by Boogie Down Productions got released when?
That was 87.
That's 86. You're talking about By Any Means Necessary is 87.
No,
right?
Criminal Mind is 87. And if we want to be technical, Eric B. is President came out in 86.
Okay, so maybe not precedes slightly, not by much. But and I got KRS's like best stuff in my opinion lined up.
Mm-hmm.
The gravity of like Rakim's 10 best records is like a L for Kane and for like KRS, and that's why. Because even when like very few of like if you were to put KRS's 10 best songs up against Rakim's 10 best songs, I give them 2, Mike. Maybe 3. You feel me?
I actually like this matchup for the performance aspect of it. You know, for the people who just got in the room, you know, me and Coop, we went to a old school concert a couple of months ago, and it had all 3 of these guys on the bill. It had Big Daddy Kane, KRS-One, and Rakim, and they actually went in that order. First it was Kumo D, then it was Big Daddy Kane, then KRS came out, and then Rakim closed it. And, you know, I think everybody in the arena had the same feeling that Kane and KRS's performance was probably the most impactful. But like you said, Rakim got the records. But with Versus being what it has become since Jadakiss kind of kicked down that performance wall, I am glad these two are paired up. But I do still believe that they tried to make the Rakim and Kane thing happen first. And it's interesting that all 3 of them are on tour together, so I don't believe there was a disconnect in that either.
So Mike, here's what I mean to the Rakim point about how it's really not fair to KRS or Kane. You familiar with The Saga Begins, right? The Pete Rock joint off the 18th letter?
Great record.
Do you think that Oh Yeah is better than The Saga Begins?
I don't.
Then we got a problem. You know what I mean? For KRS, because like that record probably isn't gonna crack Rakim's top 10 best records. You feel me?
Right.
It's gonna crack his top 20, but not his top 10. And so when you got a record like Oh Yeah, that's like clearly one of KRS-One's clearly 20 best records. You feel what I'm saying? And that's one of those Rakim records that it's like you play after you play all his epic stuff to show that he still has some epic stuff left in him. You know what I mean? It starts showing the difference. And quite frankly, Mike, as somebody who loves Kane, I'm concerned for you and what we're about to do. And I didn't think it was fair for Kane. I'm concerned for you picking Kane, and I'm concerned for KRS going against Rakim. And so that's what I think really happened with the Rakim and Kane matchup is like, right. What is Kane really going to do with, what is he just going to do with, Mike, you said most of Kane's stuff is on his first 2 albums. What is Kane's first two albums outside of maybe Raw and Ain't No Half Stepping gonna win over the stuff that's gonna get played from Follow the Leader and Paid in Full? Rakim's first 2 albums.
Well, we're gonna get to all that.
Right. People keep Mike. He gonna win 2. Like you gonna give him Raw and Ain't No Half Stepping, but it's like okay, like there's still Eric B as president, Microphone Fiend, Follow the Leader, Lyrics of Fury. Well, you know what? My Melody. I know you got soul.
Oh, we could go on Rakim on and on, but what I'm getting from this
Might not be
matchup.
fair to anybody, Mike. That might be the problem. Putting
Well,
Rakim up against anybody
well,
might
this is
not
the
be
thing.
fair.
People keep putting LL's name in the chat. I think that LL's only comparative person. I wanted to see LL and KRS, honestly.
Huh?
But what this matchup lets me know, once again, we're not going to get that. And so Rakim and LL are kind of on an island on their own. I don't think they're going to do a versus with each other. I think that's a super mismatch on that level.
I don't
But
like the KRS.
it's just not going to happen
Mike,
for them.
No, Mike, I feel you. I used to like the KRS LL, but after doing this list, it's just too diverse in terms of the greatness that you're going to pull from, because the greatest of L stuff and the greatest of KRS stuff, it's just not going to mesh live. I don't know how you're going to go from I can't wake up, like I'm a blunt getting smoked, then I can't wake up to like lounging, the remix of the total. Like, I don't know how you're going to do that. Like, it's hip hop all the same, but it ain't the same damn thing. It's really not.
I would like to have seen it. I think that's the only thing that we could have hoped from LL, because I don't even think LL and Busta Rhymes is a good matchup just because of eras, the different eras. I mean, and I honestly, man, if we're talking about Rakim and LL, I don't even think that's a good matchup, because it's just one guy was super strong in this one era, and LL was stronger in another era and kind of just around all the eras. And so
LL, when you look at it, LL was just steady. It's like LL came out in '85 with Radio.
There's nobody for LL to go against, because everybody who came around in his time, they weren't able to make a lounging in '96. But at the same time, his records from that era, not all of them album wise, like the singles hit. But that's the thing about LL. He has the hits, but his album songs aren't super strong.
But Mike, I mean, not like you said though, Mike, not too many people can play stuff like from one era, like Jingle.
Nobody can.
Round the Way Girl and I Need Love, and then like go to another era and play like Loungin', Hey Lover. You know what I'm saying?
It's interesting, and I want to go to the chat real quick before we get into this list. People are putting LL. I'm seeing people say, Reggie says the best matchup for LL Cool J would have been Heavy D. People are saying they like the LL and KRS, but I saw somebody say LL and Cube. I see LL and Queen Latifah. How do you think that LL and Cube would turn out? See, again, somebody in Cube who I think has some really strong album records,
Mike,
one with singles.
I thought about something today, Mike. What album were you playing today?
I was playing The Chronic.
So when we had a conversation behind the scenes just briefly before we got started, and we were talking about the records that Kane wrote for Biz, and we were arguing, I was like telling you, like, no, I would use that one. And what I realized is that Ice Cube's a whole problem, Mike, because he wrote NWA's first album.
Of course, yeah.
So he got his stuff, and he got straight out of Compton in his pocket.
I think with those things considered, his best matchup is Ice Cube. I think his matchup is a Scarface, because Scarface wrote for Ghetto Boys. I think that's the only thing that makes sense.
Right. Because it's like, what do you really have for Straight Outta Compton and Fuck the Police? It's like, well, my mind playing tricks on me.
Right. But see, when you play Fuck the Police against LL Cool J, like, you know what I'm saying? What is LL going to play?
That's what I'm saying. So think about it. Like, you can't put Ice Cube up against him. Ice Cube got Fuck the Police. Like, KRS is a scale down with the sound of the Police.
There's literally nobody for LL to go against. I think that KRS-One was the only one that was out there, in my opinion.
You want to know what's crazy? You want to know what actually would have been fun to see? It would have been a blending of eras, but it would have been fun to see. Ja Rule was actually the best person for LL. Hit-wise, if you're talking about the blending of the music to make it a show and something that you can go song for song with, he's the one with the records.
Has a similar makeup?
He's the one with the most LL type records. That's what I realized when he's going up against Fat Joe. I was like, yo, Ja got more LL records than anybody except L.
You know what? Believe it or not, you know who has more of his pattern when you come to that? I think it might be T.I. To be honest. We talk about different eras.
Here's what I'm about to submit to you. T.I.'s hit records weren't smashes the way those Ja Rule records were. Like, think about it.
Yeah,
Ain't
yeah,
It Funny? I Cry, We Cry, Always on Time.
But I'm saying the balance of street
Little Things
records
That We Do.
and hit records, I think that T.I. and LL probably have that best balance, but it's such a different era. And
So,
LL's catalog is just so much bigger than T.I.'s. So,
not that much bigger at this stage, actually, surprisingly. And what I would submit to you is like, what street records is L really going to play? Like, because the only street record that I know that he has to play is Mama Said Knock You Out.
well, I was going to say I
song.
Shot You.
I Shot You.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Hold on. So I Shot You, 4, 3, 2, 1, and Mama Said Knock You Out. Right?
Mm-hmm. And honestly, I think that I'm Bad and Radio and I Need a Beat are hardcore. Those aren't radio records per se.
Hold on. So here's the thing. I love I'm Bad. I used to practice my LL Cool J to I'm Bad, Mike. That's how old I am. So I love I'm Bad. I don't know if I'm Bad is about to win him anything in 2021.
Cut it out. No. Cut it out.
Mike, Jingling Baby? No, Jingling Baby gonna win. Round the Way Girl gonna win. Mama Said Knock You Out gonna win. I'm Bad. I don't know, and I love that record, Mike. That might be my favorite. No, Mama Said Knock You Out is probably my favorite LL record, but Bad might be right after that, Mike. Because here's what I'm saying. He's playing I'm Going Back to Cali. He's playing Hey Lover. He's playing Round the Way Girl.
I got Booming System in the chat. Reggie said, "Why not heavy?" I just think that LL's catalog is just way too big and diverse.
Too heavy for heavy, because it's too heavy for heavy.
Nah. Let's go ahead and get into this list.
Yeah,
you ready?
Let's go. No, let's go.
Okay. All right. So you're starting off. So I guess KRS is starting off first. He got the seniority. You're starting off with I'm number one.
Yeah, hold on. And I want to say, like, did you kind of put an order together a little bit?
I did kind of put an order together a little bit.
Okay, so me and Mike need to let the people know. Me and Mike put a 10-minute order together. Like the list that you're looking at, we literally ordered this list up. Like we had the songs and we ordered the songs like 10 minutes before.
Yeah, like right before we were about to go on.
But there's but a great performer like KRS, like for me, there's like no better record. Like you want to know what I realized? He has a lot of come out records, Mike. He can come out to a lot of stuff. He can come out to MCs Act Like They Don't Know.
He could.
He can come out to Sound of the Police. He can come out to South Bronx. He can come out to Step Into a World. He can come out to Black Cop. He can come out to Rappers Are in Danger. He can come out to The Bridge Is Over. But I'm picking I'm Still Number One.
This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go for each song. We're going to ask the people what they think, and we're going to sit here and talk about each song and which one we think. So we got I'm Still Number One and Warm It Up, Kane. I'm Still Number One and Warm It Up, Kane. I'm going Warm It Up, Kane on that. What do you say in the chat? KRS-One, Still Number One, or Big Daddy Kane, Warm It Up, Kane? What you got? Coop? You going with Still Number One?
Yeah, I'm going with I'm Still Number One. The people are going to have to choose that.
All right, well, I want to know
what? Actually, you want to know what? No, Warm It Up, Kane's a hotter record. No, you're right. I'm going to give you Warm It Up, Kane.
All right, number two, man, we got The Bridge Is Over, Young, Black, and Gifted. You got that one. Bridge is over all day.
Oh, we're going to put a check by that.
So... Rappers Are in Danger and Wrath of Kane. Ooh.
So can I say something right quick?
Go for it.
We always talk about how Nas is the first one on Illmatic to really pull Primo from Gang Starr. And we're wrong because Primo is on Sound of the Boom Bap, which is 1993. Mm-hmm. KRS-One recorded that album in D&D Studios. It's literally produced by KRS-One, DJ Premier, and pretty much the Digging in the Crates crew.
No, 100.
So KRS-One is the first one to actually like pull Preem out of the Gang Starr realm and really like get work from a major artist.
I think people are agreeing with the first two songs where we got 1-1 so far, but round three, we're looking at Rappers Are in Danger and Wrath of Kane. I'm going to be fair. I think Rappers Are in Danger got this one.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, okay. Well,
Let's get out of that.
we looking 2-1 right now. All right. We got Black Cop and Ain't No Half Stepping. I think we know the answer to that
You wanna know what I thought about Mike?
one. What's that?
How many MCs have a song his classic and his timeless as "Ain't No Half Stepping" in their catalog?
Ain't No Half Stepping is probably one of his strongest.
You don't think that it's his best song, Mike?
It could be. I think it is. I think it's actually one of the best hip hop songs of all time. I think it's in that conversation. It's the top
That's
50.
what I was saying. That's one of the 10 or 20 best hip hop songs of all time, in my opinion.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, I agree with that. So, Ain't No Half Stepping got that one. Stop the Violence and Platinum Plus. Whew.
Mike, you want to know what? I'm going to tell you something.
That Platinum Plus is Big L's record, by the way, for the people out there who don't know.
That's off of Big L's posthumous album, The Big Picture.
Yeah.
And Kane was his favorite rapper. Mike, as much as I love Stop the Violence, Mike, I love his verse on Platinum Plus, and I'll give you that because I'm going to tell you why. Mm-hmm. That's one of those, this is why everybody who you love loves me type of verses. And cats still want to know if he's as hot as he been. Yeah, like...
Yeah, Darnell Lee said something perfect. He said the performance is going to be key in this battle. And some people in the chat were saying that Black Cop, with the climate that it is, and depending on how KRS performs it, it could take out a record that might actually be better than it. But it probably wouldn't be.
What's that he said on Mike? What's that he said on Platinum Plus? Try to stop the math. I'm gonna put it in your chest like a Stockton pass.
Yeah, man.
Mike Hook is like Joe Frazier's. I'm the bodacious. Yeah, he's cold on there, Mike. He's cold on there. I'll give you that. I'll give you Platinum Plus over Stop the Violence. And I think Stop the Violence is one of KRS-One's best records. That's how great I think that Kane verse is. And so I want to say something
so we got Kane up 3-2, looks like, from our score.
But I want to say something, too. And this is, and even with a verse like that, that's what I mean. Like, Kane's highest high. Oh, no. That's as high as it gets. It's Rakim, Nas, Thought, like whatever level you talking. Like, his highest of highs, like, he operates on that level when he's at his peak. And that's him at his peak. Yeah.
Totally agree. All right, so let's just go ahead and review right now. Mm-hmm. We're still number one in Warm It Up Kane. We went with Warm It Up Kane. The Bridge is Over, Young, Black, and Gifted. The Bridge is Over gets that. Rappers Are in Danger with Wrath of Kane. Rappers Are in Danger gets that. Black Cop with Ain't No Half Stepping. We gave that to Ain't No Half Stepping. Stop the Violence. Platinum Plus, we gave that to Platinum Plus, so it's looking like Kane 3 to KRS 2. 9mm goes Bang, and then I threw a Monkey Rich out here. Nobody Beats the Biz, because Kane wrote that for the people out there.
That's really not fair that you did that.
Hey man, I was gonna do one biz. I was gonna do the Vapors,
I want to tell the people something. So Mike has seen my list, but I haven't seen his list. But I kind of didn't mind just because it's like I feel like KRS is going to win anyway because I feel like the catalog is stronger. But that's really messed up that you put Nobody Beats the Biz.
No, you didn't see my list. I talked about my list.
Mike, take all these early wins while you can get them. Take these early wins while you can take these early
Nobody Beats the Biz wins that, right? I mean,
that's easy. So I want to say something. Can I say something about 9mm goes Bang?
Uh-huh.
Bought myself a Uzi and my brother a 9.
Hey, yo.
So hold on. So here's what I realized. So people need to understand this about KRS-One. This is another mark of his greatness. And you want to know what? He's a top 10 MC still.
Easy.
I'm going to tell you why. Because of the unfortunate murder of Scott LaRock, his producer, who Dr. Dre was inspired by, there's never been a bigger flip by a great MC in terms of the rhetoric and how they talk than there is from Criminal Minded to By Any Means Necessary.
No, that's real. It changed his whole trajectory as far as like his approach to the mic.
For the better. You want to know what else I realized? And let me say this too. Criminal Minded is the best gangster rap album from the 80s, not named Straight Outta Compton. And Straight Outta Compton is directly inspired and sampled by what album, Mike? And The Chronic.
Yeah. I would say Criminal Minded. I mean, you also got, It Takes a Nation, but that's,
That's not a gangster rap album,
But
Mike.
yeah, I know what you mean.
That's a movement for the people. It needs to be stated and duly noted forever.
Possibly the greatest hip-hop album ever. All right. You ready for the next round? We are in round
Think about this,
7.
Mike. Criminal Minded is so great that, like, it literally inspired Straight Outta Compton. That's what I realized from listening to it today. It's like, oh, like Easy and Dre were listening to Criminal Minded and like wanted the West Coast version of it. That's how strong Criminal Minded is. That's how dope Scott LaRock is. That's how dope KRS-One is. That's how gangster that album is. No. And then he goes from that to literally being starting to call himself the teacher on By Any Means Necessary.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a big switch.
It's a big shift. But I think it was a great shift for him. I think that created some longevity.
No, that's why I put those together. Stop the Violence and 9mm Goes Bang. Those records got recorded like within 2 years of each other.
Did you put? Yeah, you got the song that I'm looking for on there. I was looking for Mad Isms. All right,
come on, better stop that. Come on,
Mad Isms is crazy. All right, so we are at I Can't Wake Up, class of '87. I don't know.
What say you? Yeah, what say you?
I Can't Wake Up, class of '87.
Because if the live performance is coming into play, I'm winning that.
I think KRS got that.
Yeah.
I think KRS got that. Can't Wake Up is over, class of '87. All right, now, this is a good one. I wish I could have pushed this to the next round. But Step Into a World and Raw. I'm going Raw.
Next time, I want to see your list first.
I didn't really study your list like that. I just put together the list.
It's very
I really wish I could have. I wish I could have put Raw up against South Bronx. That would have been good.
No, it's very problematic. You want to know? I would take Raw still, probably, but narrowly.
Yeah, very narrowly. South Bronx is better than Enough Respect. So that's KRS.
It is. So hold on, where are we at right now? Hold on.
All right, we're 9 songs in. We're at like the halfway mark. Let's do the next round and then we'll take a break and kind of go back over this. You got Poetry.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God! And I put his feature on Patti LaBelle's "Feels Like Another One." So Poetry got that.
Check.
So it's 5-5 now.
It's 5-5.
It is 5-5 now.
So Mike,
at the halfway mark, we're at 5-5. We're at a time.
Mike, this is where the train starts rolling down. I'm just gonna tell you, and I love Kane.
All right, so let's go back over it real quick. So I'm still number 1, Warming Up Kane. We gave it to Warming Up Kane. The Bridge Is Over, Young, Black, and Gifted. That's The Bridge Is Over. Rappers Are in Danger, Rapper Kane. Rappers Are in Danger, got that. Black Cop and Ain't No Half Steppin'. That's Ain't No Half Steppin'. Stop the Violence, Platinum Plus. We gave that to Platinum Plus. 9mm Goes Bang and Nobody Beats the Biz. Nobody Beats the Biz, got that. I Can't Wake Up, class of '87. That went to I Can't Wake Up, Step Into a World, and Raw. Gave that to Raw. South Bronx, Enough Respect. That goes to South Bronx. Poetry, It Feels Like Another One, goes to Poetry. So we're at 5-5, man. I'm gonna say this, man. That Feels Like Another One feature. I really had to pull for that, man. I don't know. I don't know if he's gonna do that in the verses, but I wanted to show some versatility. I didn't know where that was gonna fall. But with KRS, man, you don't really have many of those moments for him, so you might get crushed because all his shit is power.
Mike, track 11 is My Philosophy. Go.
Oh, okay. Track 11, My Philosophy and Smooth Operator. How did this fall? I don't know, bro. I don't know. I think I might have lost that one, but I'm sure
I
people
was about
might
to
feel
say,
different.
like Mike. I mean, lyrically, My Philosophy is clearly the superior record. Correct?
I just hate that Smooth Operator got matched up with it. Damn.
Mike,
That's how random this
Mike,
is.
9mm Goes Bang got matched up against Nobody Beats the Biz. Mike, fuck your team, Mike. Like 9mm Goes Bang just lost. That's one of the most famous quotes ever in hip hop. Like,
Sound of the Police and Word to the Motherland. Sound of the Police got that one. We're looking at 7-5 KRS right now. Ooh, You Must Learn. And Hollywood Burn. Burn, Hollywood, Burn. You Must Learn got that, man. I must admit.
Learn.
Brown Skin Woman. And Maculus's Theory. That's off the Prince Paul record.
No. I'm actually. Ooh. What say you, Mike? That's a pretty strong performance from Kane.
That is a pretty strong performance in a whole different era. And I think, I'm trying to take my mind into a place if they were to do this on Versus, and which would come through the speakers better. I may be going Macula's Theory.
The beat's better.
The Macula's Theory is hard. I'm about to go listen to that tonight.
You actually make me want to listen to it again. I'm going to give you that one.
That shit's hard. All right.
You might have me in a prisoner of the moment, and I know you're still about to lose this. So,
what was that going up against again?
Brown Skin Woman.
Brown Skin Woman. That's what I thought. Okay. Mortal Thoughts. I Get the Job Done. Ooh.
Mike, I'm actually going to give you I Get the Job Done.
And you know what? I'm starting to heat up, actually. I'm sitting here looking at the rest of this.
No, Mike, you're not heating up.
I think I'm heating up.
Mike, you might not win another record.
Yeah. And Set It Off? Give me Set It Off.
Okay. So where are
we? We're at 8-8 right now. We're at 8-8 right now.
Yeah, Mike, you about to lose.
Self-Destruction verse and Just Rhyming. I'm sorry. We're going verse for verse. Just Rhyming, man. I'm sorry. I got to go with that.
Sorry, Mike. Go ahead and take that.
Because that Kane verse, that's one of Kane's better verses, too. Just Rhyming is nuts.
No, that's cool. I'm with that.
Actually, Jack of Spades is hard, man. Jack of Spades got this.
Jack of Spades is crazy.
Yeah, Mike. Jack of Spades is crazy. So you got Jack of Spades and Something Funky.
It's not a contest.
So yeah, we're at 9-9. We're at 9-9.
No, never mind. We're gonna skip it. We'll keep it for another time. Go ahead. Yeah, he's crazy on Jack of Spades. You're losing that.
Oh, so you want to go Mad Isms? No. You at yeah. I'm sorry.
Actually, hold on, Mike. Did you pick 20? Because I picked 21 because I picked 2 KRS-One guest verses. But if it's 20,
what do you want to take off? What do you want to take off?
Mike, I'm taking off and you're gonna have to go up against the Mad Isms.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, so we got Mad Isms versus Uncut Pure. You got Mad Isms on that.
Yeah, that's Mad Isms, Mike.
And MCs act like they don't know in the symphony. The symphony. We're tied.
Hold on, Mike. So you're putting Kane's one verse on the symphony.
Yes.
Against KRS-One and Primo in 95. Hold on, Mike. Mike, I want you to understand that's 95 Primo and KRS-One for 3 verses.
I feel you, but that's not how verses works. They play one verse. It's what it is. He's going to be playing the... Honestly, let's keep it real. The symphony as a song is better than MCs Act Like They Don't Know. And I love that record.
No, the symphony is one of the best rap songs ever.
And Kane's verse on the symphony is one of the most epic rap verses ever, correct?
No, Mike, I'll tell you, Mike, like, I think, as a matter of fact, Mike, it's hard to really recall, like, really punchline rapping before that. When he said to stick a quarter in your ass because you played yourself.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
I mean, look, by the way that we've done it, it looks like it's a tie. It's 10-10.
No, it's 10-9. It's 10-9, Mike. That's not a tie. I've got...
No, let's go through it.
The bridge is over. Rappers are in danger. I can't wake up. South Bronx. Poetry. My philosophy. Sound of the police. You must learn. Jack of Spades. Mad Ism. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah, and Kane got 10. It's 20.
See, oh, that's right. I had 21 written down. See, that's terrible. See, that's why Uh-Oh needs to be in here. See, Kane don't have enough.
you trying to edge Kane out, man?
I have to tell this now, Mike. I don't like that you use Nobody Beats the Biz.
I mean, I could have used the basis too.
Go like this. I mean, these songs aren't going to be lined up like this, Mike. Like, you know that, like,
listen, I'm surprised in myself, to be honest, man. Like, I just knew that it wouldn't go like this, but I can't believe it's even 10-10.
No, Mike. There'll be no more of giving me that send me your list, Coop, right quick. That'll never happen again. I want to let you know that'll never happen again.
You didn't send me the list.
I want to let you know right now that'll never happen again.
I didn't add it.
I'll be like, are we live? Put it up while we live.
All right, I made one change while we were on the line. I had that bat dance verse up there. And I was like, yo, let me.
Well, I know about that change. I'm cool with that change. You needed to make that change.
I needed to make that change.
But really, overall, you know, all jokes aside, so even if we have it 10-10, because both the guys are great. Like, I'm not trying to be funny or anything about it. I had to keep stuff off of KRS's. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I did. I didn't have to dig too far.
I had to dig.
No. I didn't have to dig too far because here's what else I realized is that KRS-One had two separate careers. He had the career that he started with Scott LaRock, and then Scott LaRock passed, and about Scott LaRock's legacy, he kept it going on. And so there's a progression that you see from Criminal Minded to By Any Means to Edutainment.
How did you not have Criminal Minded on here, though?
Huh?
How did you not have the song Criminal Minded on here?
That's what I mean. I left stuff off here, Mike.
You did. I had to unload everything. I had to dig.
That's what I'm saying, Mike.
Like, I didn't want to put stuff like Show and Prove on there.
I'm about to say, truthfully, there are going to be people from KRS's era that is going to put more stuff off Criminal Minded and By Any Means on there than I did. I tried to kind of like diversify it and kind of like make it more modernized. That's why like Oh Yeah is on there. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's KRS in 95, not KRS in 86, 87. And so I kind of tried to think about it on the overall scale. Like, Mike, like, I'm not I love Brown Skin Woman, but I don't think that's one of his 20 best songs.
Brian Blinker says a lot of Kane's songs sound dated, really dated. And you know what? Honestly, that's what I came across a lot when I was just going through trying to put together this list. A lot of the stuff that Kane did after the first two albums, man, they had dates on them. Even the way Kane raps with the whole Stockton Pass and some of the references he was making on a lot of his records, he was dating himself even in that day. But that was his style and just even the production choices. You know what, Mike?
Too. Because even when he said, "I'm gonna put it in your chest like a Stockton Pass," that's 98. Stockton's old as hell.
Yeah,
that's like year 14, 15 for Stockton. You're right.
He puts dates on his flows. Right. On his musical choices and even his lyrics. And, you know, that's why I couldn't, anything past the second album, I had to really be selective. And thankfully, Kane had some features that I could rely on in some of these choices, and not to mention some ghostwriting things. And, you know, we were talking offline, and I say this jokingly since I know we're actually online now, but I wish I knew if he wrote Jingling Baby or Round the Way Girl for LL, I would have used those too. I mean, you know, it sounds like Kane to me, you know, but I don't think he wrote that stuff. But when you listen to, what was it? I was listening to Warm It Up Kane. I was like, shit, this sounds just like Jingling Baby. Flow-wise. Same thing with Round the Way Girl and Booming System. Like, I could hear Kane's voice all over that, but I think there's some other people that Kane might have written for, and maybe that's why. I don't know, man. He has such an odd career because he's so impactful, and I think his impact is even greater than the actual musical catalog.
No, you're right, and we talked about that offline, and so let's wax poetic about Kane, and then let's wax about KRS. right quick as well, since we're paying them some homage and this versus is going down, which is just a beautiful thing. You're absolutely right and spot on. What So, Mike, when we were talking about, when I was telling you how the evolution of hip hop is growing, part of why our generation is so acquainted with Kane and G-Rap and KRS and these guys is because the guys who we grew up on, well, these are the guys they grew up on. There wasn't too much to go off of them MC-wise before that. It was a party before that. And so they're old school to us, but they're really the only previous school that we really know as far as rhyming. And so they're super important to the culture because of that. And so when people talk about carrying on tradition, they're really talking about doing what Nas and Big and Pac and Jay and Redman and like all those guys did for us, which was let us know who those guys were. Like, I know who Rakim really is because of the Nas comparisons. You know what I'm saying? And the G-Rap comparisons. I know who Kane is really and his catalog because of the Big and the Jay comparisons and so on and so forth.
Jay even shouted them out a few times, you know?
Right, and Jay has even shouted them out a few times. And so the influence of these guys outside of KRS and Rakim is actually heavier than their catalog. It's not just Kane that's that way. No, Mike, Cool G Rap's influence greater than his catalog. Kane's influence greater than his catalog. Mike, Slick Rick's influence greater than his catalog.
Oh yeah. You know, one thing I will say about Kane too, and we were talking about this offline, I think that he was doing things that rappers of his ilk just weren't doing. Like, not even talking about the Playboy thing, but even with him, you know, jumping on a Patti LaBelle record, or jumping on a Prince record, or jumping on you know, Quincy Jones or whatever, but yeah.
Hey, you want to know what? Kane opened a lot of doors.
Yeah.
A lot of people, because here's what I mean. Here's a dude from Brooklyn in a suit that can dance and do a split, but he can out-rhyme the toughest dude on the block. But he's also good looking enough to women to pose for Playgirl magazine. What Kane really is and what he really was ahead of his time. Like, if Kane was around today, he would have, as a solo MC, if Kane was like 20 years old today, Kane would have the game at his fingertips. He would be that dude, because he would be the dude that guys from our era would want him to be, like, because he has everything that today's generation wants. Like, he has the whole package, the image. He's good looking. He can dance. He knows how to talk. But Mike, he can rhyme his ass off.
What did he say? Is like strong enough for a man and made for a woman or something like that?
He ain't never lied.
Yeah, man.
He ain't never lied.
But yeah, like they said, man, the performance is going to be very, very important on this. But it's interesting because their performance abilities, I think they're both 10 as performers, right? I think we're talking about two of the top 3 hip-hop live performers that you're going to see as individuals. But their performance strengths are 2 different things. I think KRS's performance strength is in his voice and power, and honestly just how his records cut through. So Kane's performance strength is in his breath control, his ability to move and just spit those rapid rhymes with clarity and make you feel those records on that wavelength. So I don't know which one plays better in the verses. I mean, I know Kane's going to come with the routine. He's going to come with the splits. We just seen him do it. And a lot of people hadn't seen a 50-something-year-old performer do that, so that might just knock everybody's socks off. I don't know.
I mean, let's be honest. At 50 years old, he can still do some of the things physically on stage that he was doing 30 years ago.
And that none of people who, yeah, and people 20 years younger than him can't do.
No, Mike, they never could. The better part is that they never could. No. Let's not talk about them like they could ever do that.
No. Yeah, no, you're right.
So let's talk about KRS right quick in this. So a couple things about KRS that make KRS great. When we talk about artists who have classic albums within the group framework and also has a solo artist, he's actually the blueprint of that too, Mike. Because he precedes Scarface and Ice Cube and whoever else, Pusha T. Mike, he had 2 whole separate careers. There's the Boogie Down Productions career, which produced pretty much Criminal Minded, By Any Means Necessary, and The Blueprint, Edutainment. And then he pretty much took a 2-year hiatus.
Sex and Violence. That's my shit.
Huh?
Sex and Violence.
Oh, yeah, Sex and Violence.
That shit's great.
Yeah, but he pretty much took like almost a 2-year break, and he comes back with Return of the Boom Bap, and then he returns 2 years later with KRS-One, and then he returns 2 years later with the KRS-One album. And so when I was saying it's like I left stuff off, like Mike, I left a bunch of stuff off. Like I got another 20 songs.
You know, because even when I was listening to albums, like It Looks Like a
Every
Job.
album I just named is dope. Every album I just named is a 4 at least. And there's a couple.
No, you're right.
There's and those first 2 albums are 5s. Like Criminal Minded, By Any Means Necessary, those are 5s.
Well, see, I did the opposite. You know what I'm saying? I had to choose from, a select few, really. Because the album, It Looks Like a Job for Kane, I tried. And a lot of that stuff on there was just dated, man.
You ain't pulling no shit off Prince of Darkness.
I'm not pulling anything off of Taste of Chocolate or whatever. No, I'm not.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Taste of Chocolate and the song Prince of Darkness, whatever it was.
Yo, Sex and Violence, man. The song Duck Down on there, crazy.
I didn't even touch nothing off of there, Mike. I left that whole album off of here. I didn't even count that.
Yeah, Duck Down is serious. And so KRS, man, I think that he does a really good job of selecting records. I think that he has more of a room. He has a lot more to pick from. But Big Daddy Kane's room for error is very, very narrow. We're talking 20 joints. And I hate to say it. I mean, I think I did a decent job picking 20. I don't know if he's going to pick the records that I picked.
He's not, and KRS isn't going to pick all of these records either. He's going to pick some of his stuff that more of his core audience from his time are going to gravitate to, so you can expect to hear more stuff from the first 2 projects, probably. But here's what else I'll tell you about KRS, too, to talk about him some more.
Mm-hmm.
He actually does what Westside and what Currency do. He picks great beats that fit him.
Yeah.
And he's one of the first people to do that, too. When I was going through his stuff, I'm like, you want to know what? You know why he called his album The Return of the Boom Bap? Because, the last 2 albums that he did, they really didn't hit beat-wise like those first 2 albums. And everybody knows this, too. And I want people to understand.
Well, he's a producer, and he doesn't get a lot of credit for that either. He's a producer.
Mike, that's another thing I had starred. He's a producer. There's never been an MC that great that's been a producer.
No, that's real shit. Darren Howard says, I just happened to come on YouTube. How can I get an alert in the future for the live stream? Is it always on Friday around this time? Yes, we're always doing Fridays, 7:30. You can actually click the bell icon like on our YouTube channel, and it'll notify you when we're going live. We usually do Wednesday on the midday too. But yeah, Friday, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Little plug there.
No. Keep us plugged. Plugs we meant. Live on YouTube. No, KRS is just brilliant. So what I realized today too is that his first album is still considered to be his best album, which is Criminal Minded. Scott LaRock produced Criminal Minded. By Any Means Necessary is considered to be his second best album. Like if we're talking about how albums are rated in the history of hip hop.
Right.
And there's been a lot of talks, if I'm not mistaken, that album got made with the remnants from the beats that Scott was working on from that project. He had people come together and finish them up, including himself. And that could be where he got into the production side of things, truthfully, too, Mike.
When he just had to pick it up.
And so I brought up Scott LaRock influence in Dr. Dre for a reason, so people understand how great Scott LaRock was. But imagine what KRS would have been like had Scott LaRock lived, and he's already a top 10 MC and the best hip hop performer ever. And Scott LaRock is the type of producer that inspires producers like Dr. Dre.
Yeah, it's heavy, man.
A big takeaway. Like when you look at the fact that he's still a top 10 MC, he had 2 separate careers. He lost an all-time great producer. He has all-time great material from there ain't shit that you can say about KRS. And so when we were talking about,
Love's Gonna Get You.
So listen, Mike,
Yeah.
when we was talking about that, so who you taking out of your top 10 for Lil Wayne? Well, not somebody like KRS-One. That's
No.
what I'm saying.
No.
And it's no disrespect to Lil Wayne when I'm saying that. But this is why I'm saying that. He been working with a handicap since after his first album. He lost one of the greatest hip-hop producers ever after their first album, which is a timepiece that inspired other gangster rap timepieces. He switched his whole style up, Mike, and he's still a top 10 MC. No, I'm not taking him out of the top 10.
He's incredible.
Ever.
You didn't have Love's Gonna Get You on your list, did you?
Mike, I left stuff off. There's another 20. Like when I just put this together, I put this together like I had it.
I'm telling you, man, I put together, man, I really went through on this one. I was like, man,
no,
Coop's
Mike, I
gonna
knew you
kill
was
me.
going through it. Mike, I knew you was going through it. That's why I left some stuff off. It's like, well, if I do this, he's going to win 15-5. And we got to, no.
Well, it ended up being 10-10 somehow. I'm shocked.
Mike,
but you know what? With that being said, and with all the things you left off, I got KRS-One winning this. I was gonna really go through our episode to see who I had winning this versus, but based on all the stuff you left off and the fact that it was still 10-10, and I brought everything I could, I think I got KRS-One winning this.
Mike, I left stuff off on purpose. That's why I told you I didn't touch a whole album. That was my handicap. I was like, I'm gonna take an album off just because like I love Kane. So that's why you don't hear Love's Gonna Get You in like what was up? Isn't that the same project? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Love's Gonna Get You and what? What other song are you talking about?
The one you brought up before. Hold on, because I
no, not Duck Down. No.
Yeah.
No, because that's on the one where You Must Learn, I believe. The one.
Oh, I did leave Duck Down off. You're right, Mike. I just totally skipped over. It's like I don't need it.
Yeah.
Like there were songs that I looked at. It's like, well, I don't need it to win this one. So I looked over.
Love's Gonna Get You is on Edutainment. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't touch anything off Edutainment, like on purpose. It's like I don't need to touch that album to win this.
Wow. Well, you know what? Speaking of which, man, I was listening to the Chronic earlier today, and I was listening to These Nuts, and I'm sitting there thinking, man, if Puffy got what he wanted, and really got Dr. Dre, man, what you gonna play after These Nuts, man? If Dre even played that, because he probably wouldn't, but that beat's crazy.
So I think that's the best beat on the Chronic.
I thought I was tripping. I agree with you. Like, I listened to it like 2 times in a row. I'm sitting here riding down the highway. I'm like, this shit is crazy.
Mike, when I was a kid on Memorial Drive and the Chronic came out and I heard that beat for the first time, Mike, like that beat to me, like that's the beat that symbolizes what the whole gangster rap sounds like.
Yeah, no, for real.
That's people like, what does gangster rap sound? Play These Nuts off the Chronic, please.
I mean, because that's the first beat you hear before G-Thang comes on the video. You know what I'm saying? They're playing that when they pull up.
There's a reason, Mike.
There's a reason.
Right. Nate's epic on there, and I tell people it's like, no. What the intro? Dre Day, Let Me Ride.
G-Thang's
that's to pull you in.
What was it? The day niggas.
The day the niggas took over.
Yeah.
But Mike, I tell people, These Nuts and Little Ghetto Boy is where the Chronic turns into a classic right in front of you.
No, for real shit.
That's where it turns into a classic right there, because you got to look at the first. Because Little Ghetto Boy is the track right after it, Mike. It's literally in between Nothing But a G-Thing and Little Ghetto Boy. And after you listen to Nothing But a G-Thing and the songs that come before, and then you get to These Nuts and you hear that beat, and then you hear how they get with it with Little Ghetto Boy, you like, this is some of the best rap shit ever.
No, you're right. Because when These Nuts fades out and the way it is, and then Little Ghetto Boy comes in the way it does.
No, Mike, because Mike, if you go from track 1 to 6 on the Chronic, you're like, ain't nobody get no higher than that. And then Little Ghetto Boy plays, and you're like, this is...
for years and years, I've always said Little Ghetto Boy is that X Factor record that
it has been.
I mean, when it comes to comparing the Chronic to 2001 or comparing it to Doggy Style, for me, I've always said Lil Ghetto Boy is that X Factor record where it's like it's nothing on those other 2 albums that's like that.
And it feels so real.
Yeah. And even Dre's part, like Dre is believable. Dre is believable on the Chronic.
With my homie Lil Half Dead. Murder was the case that they gave me.
Dear
God,
God.
I wonder, can you save me? Yeah. That
What
shit
is
feels
Puffy
good.
thinking? I'm sorry, man. What is Puffy thinking?
Mike, I don't know what he was thinking.
I don't know what
but
he's thinking,
go
man.
listen to the Chronic and go listen to Doggy Style.
Listen, man, and I say this respectfully, man, and you know how I feel about
You don't
Kanye.
stand a chance.
I think Kanye West is the only one that could stand it. I mean, when you talk about that soul and being able to have records that could grip you in that way,
Mike.
And I don't even think he could win that, but I think he would stand the best chance. He could come with some gripping shit, but Puff doesn't stand a chance.
Mike, all jokes aside, there's 11 records between those two albums. You losing every time. It's gonna be 11-9. Like even if it's gonna be 11-9. Like you losing. You're not gonna win, Mike. You're not. No.
It's remarkable, man.
Mike. Hold on.
It's remarkable. This wasn't part of the plan for the people who are watching the show. We didn't even plan to talk about the Chronic Doggy Style or whatever. But you know what, man?
It's Gray Day. Let me ride. The day the niggas took over. That's not even gonna make the list, Mike. We're gonna scratch that out.
Oh, what do you think about RZA though? Don just brought up a good one. What if RZA went against Dre? Does he have something that goes with it?
Hold on. First of all, Don, you're not gonna take my shit. For almost a year and a half, I've been saying the only person who has any real smoke for Dr. Dre is who, Mike? How many times have I come on live and said this?
RZA, yeah. I mean, listen, if somebody asked me like my favorite hip hop beat,
Mike, I want people to understand this. In order for RZA to beat Dr. Dre, he has to play it perfectly.
Yeah, he does.
Like he has to play Cream, Shadow Boxing, Ice Cream. Like
Incarcerated Scarfaces.
Bring the Pain. Mike, I don't care what you say. We all know True Master made Brooklyn Zoo. He's not winning if he doesn't play Brooklyn Zoo.
He needs Brooklyn Zoo.
That's how serious it is. It's like, no. That's Wu-Tang.
Nah, man. He didn't make Brooklyn Zoo. He can't use it. He's going to have to use Shimmy Shimmy, though, at least. You know.
Mike, Shimmy Shimmy Ya is already on the list. I've already given you the list that he needs to beat Dr. Dre. Everybody knows. You need to go back and check our podcast, Don. You need to see the list. I got the only hip hop list ever that's gonna beat Dr. Dre in the verses. Let me tell you, who's not winning in the verses, Dr. Dre. Puffy. Not with yet. Nothing.
Listen, man, I don't. Yeah, it's like I said, man. When I was riding the D's nuts, I was like, "What is Puffy gonna play for something like?" You can't even play a Biggie record after that, to be honest.
I mean, Mike, and keep in mind, if he's doing it with Dre, we talking about this stuff from the Chronic and Doggy Style. Like, Mike, what happens when he plays like the formula and it's funky enough from DLC?
Well, I was just about to say that with your visit.
Mike, every beat on Niggas for Life is hard. Have niggas heard Niggas for Life recently?
Niggas for Life is crazy.
Hold on. Niggas for Life is why Suge Knight was like willing to like murder anybody like associating with Dr. Dre. Like he heard those beats, he was like, no, we need that guy.
Niggas for Life is the Chronic before the Chronic, to be honest.
Mike,
production-wise.
Mike, the only thing that's wrong with the beats on Niggas for Life is that you can tell that he's still working on like he's not in the studio that Jimmy Iovine was sitting in when he made Born to Run with Bruce Springsteen. Suge Knight put him in front of that board and he made the Chronic with Snoop Dogg.
Can you imagine Death Certificate Ice Cube being on Niggas for Life?
Mike.
Can you imagine that? No, for real. Can you imagine Death Certificate Ice Cube on Niggas for Life?
Any version of Ice Cube on Niggas for Life prior to 1998 makes that an arguable greatest rap album of all time candidate.
I mean, I feel you, but we're talking about Death Certificate Cube, in my opinion, the best Cube that you go get.
America's Mike, no, I don't think you understand. America's Predator, that's lethal. Mike, any of those, like that guy on that album, like, yeah, you can go and call that shit a rap. Because here's the reality of the matter, Mike. More than anything else, the beats on Niggas for Life are tailored for Ice Cube more than anybody else.
Ice Cube is ripping shit.
It's almost like, no, Mike. It's almost like he's making the beats like, I'm going to show you, I'm going to make all these beats that you would love to rap over.
I mean, Ice Cube on Death Certificate, that nigga is going in. I think that's Cube at his best, in my opinion. I know a lot of people go with America's Most, but true to the
How about this?
game,
He's his most powerful on his America's Most, but has a total MC death certificate. But Mike, any iteration of that guy, that's what I'm saying. Any iteration of that guy before 1998 on those beats.
I want to hear Wrong Nigga to Fuck With Cube on Niggas Don't Die. Real niggas don't die. Like, what's going on, man?
Mike, no, I'm telling you the record that he would have smashed, Mike, Appetite for Destruction.
I was just about to say that.
That's the record. When I hear that beat come on, it's like, oh, that's the first record they made when they realized that nigga left. He like, fuck this nigga.
Yeah. Yep. Somebody just said exactly what you said. Cube on Appetite for Destruction.
Mike, it's almost like
100 Miles and Running.
Mike, when I hear that beat, it's like, no, that's the first beat Dre made when he realized that Cube was gone. He was like, I'm gonna make some shit to bring this nigga back.
Yeah, I think if Cube in '92 is on Niggas for Life, that's possibly the greatest hip hop album ever made.
No, Mike, how about this? What's the best gangster rap album ever?
It's a good question.
Because most people consider it to be Straight Outta Compton.
Is it Straight Outta Compton? What y'all say in the chat? The greatest gangster rap album ever.
Me personally, I say The Diary by Scarface.
Okay. What makes it? All right, let's define the gangster rap album, though. What are you defining that by?
I just want to say this and give it a caveat before they say this. I think The Diary is the greatest gangster rap album ever. But if Ice Cube is on Niggas for Life, it's not even a conversation. That's how, it's like that.
What makes something a gangster rap album? Because I'm really, really high on Death Certificate, personally.
Mike, I would put immediately I thought Criminal Minded, because I've been listening to it recently, Straight Outta Compton, Niggas for Life. I thought about, because here's the thing, America's Most is more socioeconomic and political to me than it is gangster. Death Certificate's a gangster rap album, so I think about Death Certificate, think about The Chronic, think about Doggy Style.
Oh, if Doggy Style counts, then it's Doggy Style.
Yeah, Doggy Style. Let's not count Doggy Style.
If The Chronic and Doggy Style are in the conversation.
That's what you want to know. What Doggy Style is just like what we all want gangster rap to sound like forever.
You know what? Yeah, I think the greatest gangster rap album ever is The Chronic. Then I think that The Chronic's more gangster rap than Doggy Style, or Doggy Style is more of a gangster party. If that makes any sense.
No. The Chronic has more of the makings of a gangster rap album than Doggy Style, definitely, but it's still like done up. I like The Diary more, because how about this? The perspective. How about this? Face don't have the money or the play that they're even talking about at the level that they're at on The Chronic. Like, he got a line on G's where he talking about, I lost more niggas in my hood than the motherfucking Bengals lost last year. You know what I mean?
We got Spice One in the chat, man.
Mike, when he said that the Bengals was losing like 12, 13 games, you know what I mean? He was like, no, I done lost more homies in my hood than the Bengals done lost games this year. It's like, oh, that's a lot of niggas.
We got Spice One in there. I remember hearing Spice One's self-titled album. That was some gangster rap shit.
You want to know what's that MC8 shit, Mike? What's We Stay Strapped?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about Compton's Most Wanted, though? Yep, somebody just said that in the chat.
That's the name of the album. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. I think I'm talking about the Compton's Most Wanted album. Yeah.
Coming Out Hard. I like. Listen, Coming Out Hard, man, holds a place in my
better
heart.
Than The Diary or The Chronic.
I love Coming Out Hard. Coming Out Hard is one of those albums that I will admit is not better than a certain album, but it's different, man. Coming Out Hard sounds like they recorded that shit in their living room, man.
Oh, because they did. They probably recorded in the living room, in the bathroom.
And it's so influential, man. It's like the whole Memphis sound.
It's just not better than Riding Dirty, no matter what you say. It's not better than Riding Dirty, no matter what you say.
Nah, I disagree with you. That album's better than Riding Dirty. And I fuck with UGK. I actually like UGK more than I like 8 Ball and MJG.
This is crazy that we're talking about this. I like 8 Ball and MJG more than I like UGK, but I shouldn't have to explain this to you. Riding Dirty is better than Coming Out Hard.
I was just listening to In My Lifetime. Isn't that what it's called? Not In My Lifetime, but the one that had Don't Flex and the song with Outkast, the 8 Ball and MJG album.
Put your hands. No.
Yeah.
That is in my lifetime,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
Volume 1 or something like that.
Yeah, it's like I know it was Lifetime something, but yeah, man, Dre and Big Boy killed that shit. 8 Ball and MJG killed that shit. It was amazing. That was an incredible collaboration that we don't talk about enough.
That's one of the most underrated and understated posse cuts ever. To Put Your Hands Up, because that was like the bonus track at the end of the album. Or it was like the last track.
It was like one of the last ones, you know, because Organized Noise and actually I think it was Mr. DJ did a few songs on there. Because CeeLo's on the album too. But yeah, man, when 8 Ball, well not 8 Ball, when MJG come in there, I got a maid cooking grits with a outfit so tight. My niggas want to stay the whole night. Dice game in the kitchen, nigga. TV, nigga drunk, nigga sounding like the BG's ham sandwich in the driveway. Listen, man, and then Big Boy
MJG spit game crazy. Yeah.
Listen, MJG is the most underrated Southern MC of all time.
Easy.
Unless we're gonna count CeeLo in this conversation, but he's underrated for different reasons.
He's not underrated. But here's what I was about to tell you, and it's funny that you're even bringing up the underrated part, because you want to know what my big takeaway from everything that we talked about is and what I listened to today. KRS-One is becoming the most underrated MC of all time, Mike.
I think
that's
he's
my big takeaway.
You know what? Just like what I said about Prince Paul earlier, I think when we were online together, when we were on the phone, I think that underappreciated fits that more than underrated. I don't know if KRS is underrated. People who know. I think that we just don't appreciate everything that this man has done and his greatness.
No, Mike, that's why I was kind of running down everything the way that I was, because I told you it's like while we're on this format, we need to be taking the time to kind of like educate when we can. Yeah. Prince Paul is underappreciated. And when I say he's underappreciated, Mike, and you already know this, I can go give you about 5 to 7 producers from his era that are comparable to him right now. You feel me?
You think so?
Q-Tip?
Yeah.
Primo?
But are they his era, though?
No. That's his era.
They're more so early. Well, he's more so late 80s, early 90s. And after Balloon Mind State.
So when is Gangstar and Tribe Called Quest coming out and making projects, Mike?
No, I'll give you Tribe. But I think Premier's.
Preem got credits, Mike. Preem got credits going from 88.
He does, but I think Premier's prime is more so mid to late 90s. Would you not agree to that?
Gangstar's and hold on, and Prince Paul was still. Mike, you just played Macalicious. When did that come out?
Like, well, that was 97? Prince Paul's solo album. That was 98.
97, 98?
Yeah.
So you pulling something for Kane Verzuz and pulling Prince Paul from 98. So you can't skip Preem in 93, 94, 95, 96, 97. That's not fair.
I think Preem is incredible, but I think Preem's placements really helped where he's at. And you're right, though, but let's keep it real. We just talked about RZA. RZA and Prince Paul were in a group together. Who produced that album?
Prince Paul.
Yes. Who stepped to the side and said, yo, Prince Paul, you got this album?
Who was busy making other classic projects for the greatest rap group ever, arguably. That's all I'm saying. Mike, it's easy to say that, but it's like, Mike, I'd like to introduce you to a few albums again. No, Mike, since you want to do that, I'd like to
I'm just saying, when Prince Paul and RZA are in a group together.
Enter the Wu-Tang, to Cal, Return to the 36 Chambers, Only Built for Cuban Links, Iron Man, Liquid Swords, Wu-Tang Forever, and he literally did 97% of the production on all of those projects.
Nah, man, listen, I would never front on
Mike,
RZA.
it's the greatest run of beats ever. So somebody else should have been taking on the. I don't even believe we're having this conversation.
No. What I'm saying is, as great as what you just talking about, RZA is incredible. We know how incredible RZA is. RZA's in a group with Prince Paul. Prince Paul's great enough where he's the one producing the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? Can you imagine anybody?
I'm not saying he's not great.
Yeah.
Mike, 45 King.
What you're saying is.
No, Mike, you asked me to give you some guys. 45 King and Marley Marl.
Of course. Now, those are people I would say who are in his era.
Mike, Lord Finesse. Buck Wild.
They're dope. They're not Prince
Mike.
Paul. Marley Marl is.
No, Mike. I just gave you a whole slew of guys that are comparable to him. Mike, when you talk about comparable to KRS, it's like
It's not a lot.
Rakim, Mike, Rakim, Kane, G-Rap, out.
No, you're right.
So Prince Paul, not KRS. And I love Prince Paul, but that's what I'm saying. There's levels to this shit. And when I'm telling you KRS is underrated, he doesn't get spoken of still. Like he's operating at that highest level. Because really what's happened, and here's what I was bringing up about how he had two separate careers with the boom bap. Well, Mike, he's really the only one of all those great MCs from his era to have two separate careers. The rest of those guys had one career and a comeback. He had two whole careers.
Well, if you're not counting LL Cool J, and once again, that's why I think they were the best matchup for one another.
No, Mike, you want to know? No. That's a misgiving by me because I kind of just like discount LL because LL survived like 4 eras. But in terms of the guys who are considered to be greatest MC of all time as lyricists, like the category that he's considering them as an MC, Mike, Rakim came back in 97. G-Rap came back in 95. Kane came back in 98. KRS-One never came back because he never really left.
No.
And he precedes all of them.
Yeah.
And so when you put all of that together, that's understated and underrated. And when you pull up the songs, Mike, when I was looking at the stuff I wasn't picking, Mike, I was like, this is a whole Rick Ross situation. I got a whole nother 20 for Mike off Chris.
Well, why do you think that KRS is underrated? Like, why do you think that he is?
Because the only MC from his era that has transcendent breaking hits that have transcended generations really is Rakim on the lyrical level and LL Cool J on the hit making level, and he's actually somewhere in the middle, like a lyricist the caliber of Rakim, but not quite Rakim, and has made hit records, but definitely nothing like LL. So lost in the shuffle and therefore underrated, but never left. And the best stage performer of all time.
You know what? Somebody brought up something in the chat. Brian Blinker said KRS started saying only he is hip hop, and that's what happened. To expand upon
his arrogance could have something to do with it.
I was gonna expand a little bit further than that. I think that he closed himself in a certain box where it's like, this is what hip hop is, and nothing outside of that is, and it's like you're just stuck making that while everybody else is doing everything.
So, Mike,
and that could be why,
Mike, what did I tell you in the car earlier when I called you? I was like, KRS don't fuck with nobody major. Didn't I tell you that?
Yeah, he's consistently done that.
It shows in his catalog, but what I'm saying is that...
Would KRS make a song with Mobb Deep? I mean, because Rakim's done that. You know what I'm saying? And we've seen Big Daddy Kane kind of stretch with a whole bunch of different people. But it's I think it's that... But would KRS consider what Mobb Deep was doing in 95 hip-hop?
So KRS has a message and a purpose with it, so I don't totally know. But on the basis of a hip hop level, yeah, he would do it just like Rakim did it. Rakim did it in '97, I think, for the Hoodlum soundtrack, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. And that was the first time Rakim had ever collaborated with anybody in rap, I think.
First of all, knew where to go.
Yeah.
All I gotta say. He knew where to go. He went for the ring. I told you, it's like he loves Prodigy. He loves Raekwon. He likes that street New York stuff. So, but what I'm saying is that even when you say that, Mike, listen to all the things that I said about KRS. Like, I'm saying things about KRS that you can't say about Black Thought, that you can't say about Kendrick, that you can't say about Wayne. It's a lot of guys you can't say these things about. Like, he's hot, he's up there high, Mike.
I think we're gonna have to get off of this Kendrick train so much, man. We're talking about all the work that people have put in, from KRS to people like Jadakiss. We're talking about spans.
Like I told you, Mike. Like if we keep it Big and Pac on the top 10 list, it's a whole problem for people. You're not gonna sit up there and bring me somebody that got what KRS got. It's like, oh, you got 3-4 dope albums in a group setting, and then another 3-4 dope albums as a solo artist with like 2 or 3 classics in between, and like 40 songs of like classic hip hop material.
You know what? To kind of, and I don't want to go off on a tangent or anything, but you were just talking about comebacks, and you made a really good point. Do we consider Kendrick's next album a comeback? The game has changed. It's been 5 years because he's not dropping to 2022. Is this a comeback album?
You want to know what we've been talking about a lot this year? We've been talking about two things, and it's the Black Thought verse. We've been talking about, ain't it strange how the newspapers play with the language? So a lot of that has to do with what the media does with Kendrick, because he's going to get the type of media and press coverage that most hip-hop artists don't get, that is going to craft a certain narrative. Mm-hmm. So we'll see if they craft the narrative like a comeback, like they tried to do that bullshit for Jay in 98 when he released a platinum album the year before. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're going to see how it gets framed. That's what we've been talking about this year, Mike. We've been talking about the craft, and we've been talking about the media.
Yeah.
We've been talking about practice in the media. We've been talking about dudes that's into their craft and not, and you can tell. And we've been talking about how the media narrates like the story in the past and the present and what they're going to do next with it. And that includes us, I guess, to a degree.
Well, I guess how is the
way
media,
to wrap it up.
How is the media going to frame this new Kendrick album, and how should they? I mean, I honestly feel like it should be framed as a comeback album.
No, Mike, that's what I'm telling you is that everything happens so fast now that we going to have to wait to see the frame. Like, I know what we're going to do at According to Hip Hop. We're going to rate it for what it's worth when it comes out. We're not rating it like a comeback because everybody's been speaking. Like, I've had people personally close to me that have known me for a long time be like, hey, stop. And a few people been like, hey, stop being so hard on Kendrick. Like, he's still here. He still got it.
Is he?
And I'm like, oh. And no, Mike. And I just keep telling him, it's like, well, as long as he bring it, we cool.
Listen, I'm the one that's been hard on Kendrick.
No, Mike, if he brings it and it's fire like it's always been, I'm going to sit up here and I'm going to be like, hey, worth the wait. I'd like to apologize for talking about how long you made me wait. Like, I'll be the first person to apologize and like say that I'm wrong, but the reality is for how the culture moves. I mean, Mike, think about this. When we realized how great KD2 was, Mike, you hit me up about writing the article that night and dropping it that night. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, that's real. Gray 80 says comeback to me means returning from critical acclaim after a dud. Returning with critical acclaim after a dud, not a long layover.
But not even that. But Mike, even with the layover, what I'm saying, how about this? De La Soul never made anything bad and took a whole layover, and people called it a comeback, didn't it?
Yeah. I think when you've been missing for a long time, you don't have to make it done for it
to be called a comeback. That happened to De La when Stakes Is High came out. People was like, "Oh, De La's back. It's a comeback." I'm like, well, really, they ain't really dropped a bad project yet, but like I guess it's a comeback because we ain't heard from him in a minute. Like, I don't know. I'm young. I don't know how to frame it. I'm gonna let the source frame it for me and hand these niggas 4 mics. Okay.
Well, Stakes Is High was 96, and they came back with the other joint in 2000, right? The one with when that Artificial Intelligence, yeah, because they did like 2 volumes of that. So yeah, that's 4 years. We're on 5 years with Kendrick. And not a regular 5 years. We're on a 5 years where artists have had whole many careers since he's dropped last.
You see, here's the thing. It's show and go time is what I'm saying. And so part of the frame is also going to be how we frame it, Mike. I'm going to frame it like I'm going to rate the album. I'm going to rate the album because according to hip hop, it's supposed to be for the people, right? We for the people?
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. You know what I'm saying?
People been saying he's still
That's why we're talking to the people in the chat as we go.
No, Mike. There's 2 sides to the coin. It's like people been rating it like he ain't never left and like he's king. And guess how this project's going to get rated when it drops by according to hip hop?
Yeah. No.
It's going to get rated. It's going to get rated like he's king and he's never left. Because I'm going to be honest with you, Mike. And I told you this. When I heard KD2, I was like, this is so great to me, and I'm such a Nas fan, I don't even know how to rate this. I need you to tell me how you feel about it. And you're like, no, it's a great project. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm not sure. Because I'm rating him up against the highest standards.
Kendrick is going to get rated on the highest standard because he's smoking on everybody's top 5.
Mike, he's getting rated on the highest standard based on his catalog.
Yes. No, I was going to go there. He's smoking on your top 5. His catalog is what it is, and he's at the peak of his career. So I don't think there is a level that we're going to have to rate it on the highest level. Yeah, it just is what it is. You're coming off of Damn, you're coming off of To Pimp a Butterfly, you're coming off of Good Kid, Mad City, and you're at the prime of your career, supposedly, and you're smoking on top 5s. I mean,
No,
and you had
I'm
5 years to make this. And you had 5 years to make this.
No. This is we gonna keep on going back to this Dre shit on Rosa Parks. Said, baby boy, you're only funky as your last cut. You focus on the past, your ass to be a has what. That's words to live by, or either that's ones to die to.
I think that's where Kendrick is in his career.
No, Mike. So I'm saying that to say is that since Damn has came out, there have been albums that are comparable or better than Damn that came out.
Oh, definitely.
And if he's the greatest of this era, he needs to make something comparable to Damn or better, because that's what he's done every time. So we holding him to that standard.
I don't even think Damn's good enough at this point.
And at this point, we really just need to let his music speak for itself like it always did.
It always has. And him putting out press releases, I don't feel like it's a good sign.
Well, that's what I'm saying. No, Mike. It's October. We know that something coming. We out of talking mode. We out of speculation mode. It's like, what you got for me? Show me the baby.
He's on the Super Bowl lineup, so it is what it is.
Show me the baby. That's what I'm saying. It's like, oh no. All this rhetoric and all this talk we've been doing all these years. Oh, that shit's officially over. It's game time, Mike. Like preseason over. Ain't the preseason about to end? Ain't it time to hoop? It's time to hoop.
Before we get up out of here, were you impressed by his 2 appearances on Baby Kim's album?
Fairly, but when you're saying impressed, I never rate him by his guest appearances. He doesn't do them often, and it's never been his best shit. When have you had a guest appearance from him when you're like, oh, that was epic? He don't have no verbal intercourse. He don't have no big, Get Money remix verse. He doesn't have that anyway, so I'm not expecting that from him. That's really not his lane.
Brian Blinker said Black Panther, the album, is his last album. How many songs on there was he on?
He's on 3 or 4 tracks.
Come on, man. Come on now. We can't start doing that.
He might be on 5, Mike, but he doesn't have a solo record on there.
I didn't think he did, man. I mean, I kind of skimmed through that album, man, and come on, man.
Let's hope we get some records next week, Mike. What you think? Conway next week, Nas next week.
They're saying Nas. People are saying Nas is dropping on the 14th. We'll know soon enough.
Hey, you want to know it? Here's what he's done. If he really is dropping on the 14th, he officially just pushed niggas shit back. What is this old ass rapper doing?
What is going on with Nas, man?
What is going on?
Speaking of which,
Mike, I'm gonna tell you what I did right quick, and we need to leave on this note. When I heard that, I was like, okay, so who else coming out? It's like, I know they're not gonna let him apply pressure like this again, and it's like, oh yes, they are.
So if Nas drops next week, he's dropped 5 projects since Kendrick's dropped his last one. Are we serious?
No, Mike, we're gonna let the music speak. That's what I'm saying. Because right now, Nas is the artist of the year too.
Oh yeah, and if he drops 2 in a year, man,
Mike, if he drops something that's comparable to King's Disease 1, not 2, if he drops something comparable to King's Disease 1, this is over.
Yeah. Miss Mo said, I'm sorry, Kendrick is dope, but he ain't doing nothing iconic to me. That hasn't been done yet. Yeah, I said it.
No. That's what I'm saying. We're not going to keep on having these conversations. We're going to let him do what it needs to do. You're not even about to bait us this late.
All right. Well, we're going to see what drops next week, man. Y'all have a great weekend, and hopefully we get a new Nas effort. Appreciate everybody's participation in this Kane versus KRS preview. And, I'm really surprised that it ended up 10-10, but I think
Mike, people not going to rate it that way. When we go back in the chat, the people not going to rate it that way. You lost.
All right, man. I'm going to holler at you.